All right, so here in the garage, it's pretty dingy and small and old, but it's all right. It's my little space, and got the blue car. The blue car, terribly hard to see with this light, but it's a project, you know. Tell you more about it later, but I'm gonna put that B16 in the blue car. Dirty, dirty. Carried the B16 from the house and it was terrible. So I'm gonna put the clutch, the flywheel. I have resurfaced this factory flywheel. So got the, like I said, the cheapest clutch on eBay. Gonna redo the, swap out the pilot bearing and do the throwout bearing and all that. I'm gonna use a B16 transmission. I tried to paint it like engine color, you know, like they do at the machine shop, but it looked like engine color. But I sprayed it on and it was blue. And you probably can't tell because it's yellow light, but this is pretty blue. It's all been gone through and all that. This kind of isn't mine though, but I'm gonna use it for now. So I'm gonna get the transmission up on there. Got my clutch on. So all I did was knock the old pilot bearing out, tap the new one in nice and flush, and put my flywheel on, torqued it down in sequence to spec with a torque wrench. And then I stuck my clutch and pressure plate and clutch alignment tool in there. And torqued my flywheel down to spec. I'm a little bit confused because I thought that B series used more of these compared to D series. I'm pretty sure they do, but this flywheel only has spots for 6 instead of like 9. But I don't know, it doesn't really matter, it's gonna work. So there's that, and I put my new throwout bearing in here, and I lubed this, which I think is called a spigot, and I lubed it with, you know, whatever I had, because it's gonna be fine. Brembo brake pad, you know, anti-squeak grease stuff. I also greased that on the underside, that thing, swivel, no, I don't know the word. And I remembered that I have no output shaft seals, because the person who rebuilt this told me, hey, go get some output shaft seals. So I'm gonna run to the store real quick and grab some output shaft seals, and hopefully I get the right ones, because there's 2 different ones, or 2 different, it can be, like there's 2 different styles for this side. If you get the wrong side, the axle won't go all the way in. So I'm gonna get those, and I'm gonna get an oil filter, and you know what, I'm just gonna run conventional 1030 in the tranny, because I don't think I have any Honda fluid. I have some ATF, but it'll be okay. I'll put my bracket on. I'll go find one inside, put the bracket on, and I'll put a starter in, and I'll put a speed sensor on, just from random ass parts that I got. So I'm off to the parts store. Alright, I bought some conventional 530 for the engine, just some O'Reilly's crap, because I'm gonna change the oil after you know, 500 miles, or maybe, yeah, something like that. And a Wix filter. I would have rather used a Honda one, but Honda's close. And I got some output shaft seals for a 95 LS. I don't know. I remember I had a GSR transmission, and I was swapping it for a Type R transmission, and I went to put my axles in, but the seal on the passenger side and the driver's side was stopping from the axle going in all the way. And you know, I don't know why I didn't just say, oh, give me 99 SI axle seals. Probably should have done that, but so anyways, I got the LS whatever axle seals, and hopefully they're the same. If not, then I won't be able to start it. I got some conventional 1030 O'Reilly's for the tranny, because you know what, it's not going to be in there very long, the transmission, and some full strength coolant that I'll mix with some distilled water. So that's what I got. Alright, so I got my bracket on, and this hole, like half of the threads were messed up, but the bolt that was in there was shorter than it could be, so I used a longer bolt and it torqued down, and very unfortunately the threads in this hole pulled. But screw it. Got all the other bell housing bolts tight, and I got my starter on. I found a speed sensor, hopefully works. My dust shield is getting squished right now, but I'm gonna fasten that once I have it in the air. I'll go and see if I could find the support arms from the block to the tranny. Got my seals in. I'll put shaft seals in, and so now I'm going to put the wiring harness on, then pick it up with the cherry picker. Sorry for the shitty photos or video quality. I'm missing this bracket, which is just, you know, I think it's a radiator stay plastic clip thing, and this is for OBD1, but my deal clips into it, so yeah. Alright, so wire harness is on, and I'm gonna walk you through the whole deal. I got my injectors plugged in, and here's the driver's side shock tower plug, alternator, 10mm nut deal, that deal. So this harness is original to the car, so it's a OBD2B. Oh shoot, I just realized I need a jumper harness to start this car, but OBD2B deal. So there's the crank angle position sensor plug, which I won't use. I wish I had a way to secure this. And also I want to mention about this intake manifold. It's thicker here, and so look at the amount of threads I have on that nut. I don't really like it. All the top is like that. I could use longer studs or something, but this is not a perfection build, just good enough. Here's the knock sensor plugged in, and down here is the, come on, gotta find my hand, oil pressure sending unit. Plug in, I have the oil filter on, and here's something kind of cool, if you ask me. This, on a D series, this bolt hole right here on this plastic piece is 10mm. So I took the little sleeve out, and it's made so you crush metal and not plastic, and it's this 12mm bolt fits in there and screws into the breather box, so so my wire harness isn't just flapping around down here. Kind of nifty. We've got this branch of the wire harness. This is for the power steering bobber, and this is the primary, this is the, it's the primary O2 sensor that melted on my exhaust once, and I'm only going to be running a primary, with the stock exhaust, so I'll have to replace this connector. The pins don't look very happy with a bunch of melted plastic, but I probably won't have to cut anything. Then we got our idler control valve plugged in, throttle position sensor, plugged in, and map sensor plugged in. G101, ground 101 plugged in. The thermostat fan switch plugged in. Speed sensor plugged in. Distributor. I extended this a long time ago, too long, because you know on the D series it's over here. So VTEC oil pressure and that, and engine coolant temperature, and the gauge, temp gauge deal, reverse switch, and I like tucked this in here, in behind, between the starter and the thermostat housing. So I have my signal, battery voltage signal, starter wire. I'm gonna put a boot on there, and then we'll be pretty. I'll probably start lifting it up with the cherry picker. So before I decided to turbo, I was gonna be NA with cruise control and AC and all that, and I got a new condenser, a new receiver dryer, and all that stuff. $33 of new OEM O-rings. I just didn't want to guess sizes. So I'm not gonna run AC. I'm also not gonna run power steering when it's turboed. But for now, I'm going to remove this because I don't want to have to try to find the right bolts for that. And so I'm gonna remove the condenser and the hard lines. For the AC, I think I'll remove the hard lines, but later, you know, when I take the engine out to put the turbo motor in, I'll probably remove the evaporator and block it off and clean it up. The AC stuff removed. When I go back and put my turbo motor in, I'm gonna delete this stuff. Like, it'll just be the necessary stuff, and I'll probably tuck this headlight wire harness on the other side. So that's out. I put my rear mount in. It's an Innovative. I think it's 85A. I like to have the T-bracket in the engine bay when I drop it in. It doesn't work very well on a EG or DC because you have to get around this bracket, you know, it's on the body. Anyways, it's fine. I have my engine on the picker, and I love this. I have my dust shield on with its engine stiffeners, which are always just gone or whatever. So there's that shit. So I guess I'm gonna what am I gonna do now? Just put the motor in, maybe? I gotta take these wheels off. Since this car didn't have a motor and it was rolling around, I have some axle stubbies. And the only reason those are there is because if you roll a car with the axle nuts not on, you'll fuck up your wheel bearings. And I've done it. So I have that on, and I have some axle nuts underneath there. It's just a temporary thing. And just please forgive how filthy these beautiful wheels are. I'm a terrible person. I'll repent. All right, it's going in. Mounted. Got this bracket all mounted up and stuff, you know. Whatever, there, mounted. And I tried not to hit my frame rail too much, but I did a little bit. So, funny story. All three of these bolt holes, 1, 2, 3, I've messed up at one point or another. This whole deal just cracked off. This welded nut broke free. So this was replaced before the engine bay was painted. And the bottom one I cross-threaded because I was trying to install this mount with the engine still in the car. So later I went back and tapped it, and that one's fine. This one, I used too long of a bolt, and it hit the frame rail on the other side, the inside, and pulled on the inside of the frame rail. There's a welded nut, and so it pulled the welded nut away. You know, it broke the weld. So that was gay. So what I did, it's less than wonderful, but I drilled a hole in the body there, and I put a washer and a nut, and you know, it wouldn't be so bad if I had a sleeve that went through the frame rail so that it actually has something to squeeze on, because right now it's just squeezing the frame rail together. But someday I might do something better about that. But that's that. So everything is mounted. The rear T-bracket is all mounted up tight. The shift linkage is kind of, one of the rods is on the bolt one, so we are real firm. I'll get this chain out of here, and I posted looking for a jumper harness on the local forum and our local Facebook group, and someone says they do have one for me, but I can't get tonight. And it's probably 12 o'clock, so I gotta get the exhaust in here and the axles and all that, so here I go. Okay, so I've been tooting along. I went to a muffler shop because my exhaust cracked, and he's like, "You don't got a flex pipe," and I'm like, "Well, fuck, I used to have one. Where'd it go? Can you put one on?" He's like, "Sure." He cuts my only flange off and welds the flex pipe in. So I was not very happy, and now I have a one-piece exhaust. So I had to, oh yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. Like, it's a factory 98 plus JDM Type R manifold with some hack shit going on, and you know, it can be reverted, but So anyways, I guess this is like 2.5 inch piping, probably. It looks pretty big, really, but got my lower control arm down. I've got some Tine Flexi coilovers with a bunch of paint dust on it from the paint shop, and these are blocks for your, oh, look at that. They've got like, not very many miles, 50, but car's been sitting for a year, so. Anyways, the blocks for your camera kit. These are Brembo blanks, which also have like 50 miles on them, but I've rope towed this car a few times, and I think they'll clean up fine when these Brembo pads, you know, scuff them. I have this is not an SI, this is a clone, but I have the SI sway bar and this fake. I'm not gonna act like it's real, it's fake. It was advertised as real, but ASR subframe brace, which I don't really need because this is not very big, and the whole point of that is to not tear your subframe with a bigger sway bar. So I gotta get this muffler. This is a Pexi World Sport 2 muffler. I gotta get up there and hung. And it has a CTR5 lug conversion in there, and the trailing arm bushings are not ruined, so that's good. In the front, there's some spoon rotors that they were just resurfaced, but like I said, it's been sitting here and all that, and some Brembo pads, and the 5 lug, and same deal, Tine. So I'll show you the inside. This car feels like it's in shambles, but it'll get there. And here we have a factory AP1 steering wheel And the airbag should work. Never tested it, but I wired everything. I wired the cruise control, and so the horn, the cruise, and probably the airbag works. And SI cluster with just this eBay fake overlay thing, which I think looks pretty good. I'm cool with it. And I did have a water temp gauge and oil pressure gauge, but I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Factory leather EM1 seats, super duper rare. Some doubled in. It's kind of old, but it works. And that's basically the interior for now. The back seat is all trash, torn apart. There's leather rear seats as well, and the new style factory floor mats and everything else. So anyways, I'm gonna finish getting this exhaust up there, and then maybe do the axles and call it a night. Probably be like 2 or 3 hours from starting it after putting the axles in. I'm done. Show you the stuff later because I'm tired. Oh, it's the next day. And so I'm gonna start this thing pretty soon. I'll tell you what I have left. Stock airbox, and this is from Integra or something because it's bigger than what will fit on the B Series RY. So this is just mocked up. I'm gonna get this bracket deal from the junkyard. I just ordered some headlights because I remembered I don't have any. And I have to make this ground work. This ground right there, because I'm missing that bracket that I told you about. So I think I'm just gonna widen that hole on the end of the ground and use that 12mm bolt for now. So I need to make that ground work. I need to figure out my throttle cable because as you see, this is not gonna work. I think I might be able to flip this around and it might work. Should work. But so I'll do that. I need to rob a battery from another car I have here, put the power steering pump on, and go find the right belt. Make sure I have power steering fluid. I use the cruise control, let's call it a modulator 2000, on another car. So I don't have one of those, but that doesn't really matter right now. I had a gauge here, but I don't know where I use that on some car or something, but I might just find the banjo bolt and some washers. So I need to hook that up. So there's just a few things I gotta button up. I'm still waiting to get the jumper harness from Dude. He's supposed to call me here soon. Alright, so first I'm gonna work on throttle cable. My throttle cable all ghetto fabbed because it's what I had to do. Some other bracket that I found, and it opens all the way and everything works good. So now what I'm gonna do is mess with that O2 sensor connector. Alright, so like that. This one is brown looking. Come on, focus. Brown, green. Behind green is white, black. Behind the brown is like black, white. And put on new connector, and that's good as new. But 98, I think it's late 98 to 2000 Civics, their primary O2 sensor is this, it uses this connector, which is the opposite of all the other ones. So, like, let me show you. Here's a bunch of O2 sensors. This is like more of a normal one, and see, it has the same plug. So I have a whole bunch of O2 sensors, but they're all opposite connector, and you can't just depin this and put the right connector on because the pins are different. I could hack it and solder it, but I don't really want to do that. So I don't know, I might have to go buy an O2 sensor. Got my O2 sensor figured out, and I did some ghetto stuff here, and it's gonna work. But just keep in mind, I'm gonna turbo this car. It's all gonna be better. I'm just trying to start this engine. So here's something interesting. This is a Type R power steering pump, which doesn't line up to this. You know, if I had a B16 pump, probably be fine. I could have used my Type R brackets, but I couldn't, and still use this heat shield because of the difference in the deck height and everything. And I just wanted to use the heat shield, damn it. And I was gonna not use this nut, but now I think since I'm using this pump, I do need to get the Type R power steering bracket, because look at this pulley right here. I'm looking straight down. You can see how it's just not aligned with the crank pulley. So I'm pretty sure that the Type R pump holds this over a little bit more. I mean, Type R power steering bracket. So I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna ditch my little heat thing. I'm gonna go grab it. I got the jumper harness. It's got some cut wires and stuff, and it's subpar, but I gotta fix it. I got the jumper harness. I got the car filled with oil, and I'm filling the transmission. I got the coolant filled, and I got the battery in. So I'm about to start it up here pretty soon. I gotta figure out on this ECU what I have to cut. Okay, gotta go. The hacked wires kind of, I would solder them, but I'm not gonna use this jumper harness for very long. This is Kenny. Say hi.
Hello.
And it matches my valve cover. Oh, I was about to just install it, but I need to figure out what I gotta cut to revert back to the stock tune.
Stock tune.
Yep, stock tune. And fill in the transmission real slowly. My ECU, which is chipped, but I don't know what the chip is. And I'm trying to avoid getting it street tuned. And I just spent a while looking for this J1 jumper, which is this is so hard to, right there, that guy needs to be cut, and then apparently cutting that will revert it back to the stock tune. So I'm just gonna cut that and put it all back together and go from there. So with this OBD1 ECU, when I plugged it in, I get no fuel pump priming, no main relay, nothing. So I tried a different ECU I had, and same thing. So I went to another car, got and pulled out the OBD2B ECU, plugged it in, and now it primes and everything like that. So the problem is either both of these ECUs, not very likely, or this stupid jumper. I mean, it might be OBD2A. I did a little bit of research and it does seem like OBD2B. Yeah. I'm a scat man. Sorry. Someone is getting this iPod and it has a whole bunch of old music. And it's kind of cool. But now I'm driving to my friend's house to borrow his ECU and jumper, which I know works to start his car. And I can compare that jumper harness to this stupid jumper harness. And it's like a 20-25 minute drive one way. So, kind of gay. Dog. Yep, that's a hot dog. Okay, I'm pretty nervous. I put that other jumper harness in and it does work. So later I'll compare this jumper harness to that jumper harness. But, yeah, I'm nervous. Everything should be fine, but I got the injectors unplugged and the distributor unplugged. So I'm gonna just prime the oil pump right now, because you know you gotta prime it. So no check engine light. I'm just gonna go until the oil pump turns off. Well, let's see what our check engine light is. I made this little doohickey. Just plug that into your, you know, little connector down here. One-handed. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Looks like code 8. Let's see again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 1 second. That code is for top dead center position sensor, which is in the distributor. The distributor's unplugged, just so we don't have any spark. So I should have guessed all that. Come on, oil light, go away. There we go. Got oil pressure. Okay. So I'm gonna unplug this thing. You can't see nothing, but I unplugged it, and now I'm gonna come over here, plug in my injectors, plug in my distributor, and I guess I should probably still have that code, but let's see if it starts. If it starts, I'm gonna turn it off and then open the door, garage door. Here we go. Ooh, ooh. Oh. World Live! It's alive. Yeah. Listen to that. And turn the car off. Oh. I guess my keys are in my pocket. So, yeah. Freak yeah, guys. Freak yeah. Wonderful. Beautiful. Yeah. The Type R crankshaft, or the crank pulley harmonic balancer, is different than this one. So my belt no longer fit, so I don't have power steering at the moment. I'll get the belt later. I'll just take a string around that pulley and around this pulley and see how long it is and go to the parts store and say, hey, I need a 4-ribbed. Yeah, anyway, so the car started. That's wonderful. I gotta open the door so I can let it idle and get to operating temperature and set the ignition timing, but I don't know where my keys are. Yeah. Freak yeah. You know, the only reason I thought it wouldn't start is because of just the conjunction of random parts, like the coil and everything else. I mean, I figured mechanically it was good. Oh, that was an unpleasant sound. So this transmission is just real fresh too, just been done. So that's cool. Everything's fresh, except for, it sounds like you can probably reuse the input shaft bearing. You can hear it. Oh, we'll turn the heater on. Oh shit. I used my blower motor in a different car. So I'm gonna install that real quick. That way I can bleed the coolant system properly. Because I have another one that doesn't work as well. Okay. We're just idling away now. Everything's smooth. There was like this little knockety sound, and I was like, that makes me nervous. But it's just, I got these stiffer torque mounts. They're called Street Rays. That's the brown brand. I have one on this side and that side, and they're kind of shitty. Like I do not recommend getting Street Rays torque mounts because you just can't bolt them on. You have to use washers here and there and everything. And I guess I did not finish up trying to put washers here and there and stuff on that torque mount. So nothing's knocking. And everything's running great. No check engine light still. That was the highest rev I've ever done with this engine. Alright. Still got so much cold air, so lots of air in the heater core, the whole coolant system. Anyways, I probably am going to take it on a drive. I'll find a couple lug nuts and just act like I have headlights and stuff. I'll just go around the block. Timing. I got my timing light here, and there's 3 wires, one for the negative, one for the positive, and this for the number 1 spark plug wire. You also want to jump your service connector, that little deal I plugged in to make the check engine light come on. You want to do that, and then you know what? You hear the sound, and look, this engine does not look very well balanced. I'm trying to make a race car though, but I'm also thinking about just tuning it, doing the street tune, so everything's optimal. Can you hear the sound? I don't know if you can, but it's my timing belt rubbing on my cover. Just listen. Yeah. I'm not that worried about it. If this was my race car turbo engine, then I would be, but I'm just gonna let it grind its way into the cover, because I don't want to take all that shit back apart. And if it breaks, then the joke's on me. So I'm loosening all my distributor bolts here, so I can. Now I'm gonna look down here. This is too hard to really explain, but there's that black line on the timing cover, like a shark fin sort of, and on the crank pulley there's 3 marks that are close by each other. So basically I'm just going to get that little black shark fin to point at the middle of the 3 marks. And then tighten the distributor bolts and unplug the service connector, and then my ignition timing will be set. No front bumper, no fenders, no mirror. At least I can roll my window down. And I have 4 lug nuts on 3 of the different wheels instead of 5. Crappy garage. Oh, nope, it was nothing. I got no power steering. And I gotta do a 1,000,000-point turn, or I gotta move these garbage cans. Yeah. Driving my blue car in a year. Hope I don't get pulled over. It's Saturday night. Got no headlights. I'm just going around the block. But I want to hit VTEC, Pretty sketchy. Everything missing. Okay, people, that's it, ish, B16 is rebuilt and it's in the car and it runs, so that's great. Yeah, normally everything wouldn't be so ghetto like this, but it's just life. The car is in pieces right now because I had it painted blue, it was silver, and I still need to get all the small removable pieces painted, like the moldings, and actually just got the JDM thin side moldings, and the door handles will be keyless, and the mirrors will be power folding, and yeah, so I wish the car was in one piece because this light makes me look like I have gray hair. Anyways, thanks for watching, friends and family, if you enjoyed it. Okay, bye.